Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Mucking Fonday, which means I've just woken up really late. I've chugged a bunch of espresso, and now I am running 100 miles a minute here as we are learning about what's happened over the weekend and today for the news. So we're reminding you what's going on because you shouldn't have been paying attention to the news over the weekend, okay? That's the only thing I ever ask you to do. Don't pay attention to the news on the weekend because we will tell you about it, okay? This is Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where we look up our stories 10 to 15 minutes before we started. We've just got caffeine in our body and we're learning to read live on stream. So if you're illiterate, join us in learning to read because you don't have to stay that way and you can still learn even if you can't read like we do. Let's get into today's headlines. Today on Mucking Fonday, EU and US talks on new Russia sanctions possibly targeting oil exports. And Spain intensifies criticism of Israeli offensive in Gaza. Israel responds with travel bans. You got them there, because everyone wants to go to Israel right now.
Yeah, I really want to go there. This is Roger from the U.S. for Mucking Fonday. U.S. manufacturing contracts for the 6th straight month. And in other fascism news, Florida's plan to drop school vaccines. Rule won't start for 90 days. So stay out of Florida if you know what's good for you.
Tens of thousands of protesters draw the red line for Gaza in Brussels. In news of more Gaza genocide protests.
And in these weekend sports, we had the beginning of the NFL season and we had the US Open. But our sports news story is about a lady stealing a baseball. Plus, we also have John Fogarty re-releases all of his biggest hits and an album called Legacy, and it's now in the top 10. Probably number 1 by now. I don't know.
In my culture news, guess what happened this weekend? That's right, the MTV VMAs 2025 winners. Lady Gaga, Ariana Grande, and Sabrina Carpenter triumphed at a muted award ceremony. The girlies are still winning at pop.
Boy, that's just too much enjoyment for any of us, right? It's National Star Trek Day, so live long and prosper. It's September 8th, 2025 on Before Coffee.
Well, you can still say that for the third consecutive year. May the force be with you.
No, I'm done. I'm done screwing up. I'm never going to screw up again. Ever. This is the last time I'm going to screw up, I told my boss one time, and he said, okay. He accepted that. Really? Okay. Cool. Anyway.
Is that a real story, or are you just telling a dad joke?
I don't know. I've screwed up so many times, it's hard to tell anymore.
Okay. Let's roll our segue wheel so we can screw up at making poems or something, I guess.
Yeah, let's have a spin. Let me get my pen out that doesn't write.
That's why you gotta use pencils, huh?
I
believe it's landing on mixed metaphor. Yes, it did. Mix up all those metaphors today. He's gonna go look for a pencil, and I'm gonna start reading a story. This first story is about Russian sanctions. This is on NOS News, a Dutch website / newspaper. EU and envoy David O'Sullivan is in Washington today and tomorrow to coordinate new sanctions against Russia related to the war in Ukraine. Convicted felon Trump responded yesterday to a journalist's question that he's ready to move to phase 2 of the sanctions. Wait, have we conquered phase 1 yet? Which is agreeing on anything? He did not specify what that means in concrete terms. Don't worry, guys, we're getting it done. We're getting to phase 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. Trump's Treasury Secretary Bessent hinted to NBC News that the U.S. wants to impose additional tariffs on countries that import oil from Russia. We are prepared to increase pressure on Russia, but our European partners must follow suit, he said. Cough, cough, Germany, who was getting a lot of imports from Russia, even during the Ukraine war, the start of the conflict. The question on the table, he said, is who will endure the war longer? Ukrainian army or the Russian economy? Thanks to China and India, I think India is also helping Russia. Economically, anyways. I don't think Russia's economy is going to collapse. anytime soon.
Oh, yeah.
The U.S. and
I think it will, actually. I think it's very close to collapsing.
Okay,
I've heard a lot of...
It's nice that you're optimistic about it. I'm more pessimistic, obviously. If the U.S. and the EU impose more sanctions, levy tariffs on the countries that buy oil from Russia, the Russian economy will collapse, and that will bring Putin to the negotiating table, he said. And I think the only thing that will bring Putin to the negotiating table if he's no longer leader of Russia, because then he'll be like, please get me back in power. Last month, the U.S. imposed such an indirect 25% sanction on India, who is, like I said, helping Russia by buying their imports. They import the largest amount of Russian oil. India is thus supporting Russia's war economy. Ukrainian President Zelensky agreed and said it was a good decision. He also agrees with his criticism of Europe that there are countries in Europe that will import oil or gas from Russia and thus contribute to the Russian warfare. The Kremlin said today that sanctions will not lead to a change of the war. I do have to agree with the Kremlin on this one. Like I said, I'm very pessimistic that even if their economy collapses, which you're saying is possible, I think even with that they'll still keep going. I don't know. I was hoping there would be mass what is it called when you just like leave the army? What's the phrase for that? Where you're just like, I'm not gonna fight. I wish the Russian soldiers
truce?
No. When Russian soldiers are like, I surrender, take me into custody as a prisoner of war. Whatever.
Surrender?
No, that's not the
capitulation.
Word. No, it's when you abandon the army and then you're like get arrested. Huh?
Deserter.
Yes, deserter. I was hoping more Russian soldiers would desert because last thing I heard about how they're contributing to their Russian population is that they're just sending all the men out there, just every single one, and now there's nobody who can do anything. And at some point they might even start sending women. I don't know. And if they all deserted, then the war would be over because there would be no army. But they do have, I think, a larger population than Ukraine. I'm not really sure about the numbers here. Trump has repeatedly threatened to expand the sanctions package. In July, he said he would impose massive tariffs on Russia. He didn't reach a ceasefire with Ukraine within 50 days. 2 weeks later, he advanced that deadline. He let it lapse. His meeting with Putin in Alaska followed in August. Everything points to him letting Putin take him there. Yep, that's definitely what it looks like. According to convicted felon Trump, he and Putin have taken another step toward peace, and new U.S. sanctions seem completely off the table. Almost a month later, peace or ceasefire remains no closer. Putin continues to avoid a personal meeting with President Zelensky because I think Zelensky would be wild enough to just take everyone out, What? I don't know if this is really what happened because I wasn't following the news, but I heard after the fiasco where Trump was like, oh my god, you need to wear a suit when you meet with me. Zelensky specifically didn't wear a suit again. As a petty way to be like, you don't fucking tell me what to wear. I'm the leader of my own goddamn country.
He gave away all of his clothes. He doesn't have anything. He just legitimately a poor man. He doesn't have anything. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, I think Zelensky is badass enough, to, you know what? I brought a bomb. We're just gonna blow each other up, and then he killed Putin, and that's what he'll do. I think he would do that. I would do that if I was. What other reason is Putin so scared to meet with Zelensky other than to be
deprivation? But he doesn't seem like the terrorist type.
I think the truth is that Putin doesn't respect Zelensky as the leader of the country because he thinks he's the leader of Ukraine. Right? He's so delusional.
Good.
I'm not going to talk to this figurehead for the rebellion. I don't respect him. He's not a real leader because I'm the real leader of Ukraine. Last night, Russia launched 810 drones and 13 cruise missiles into Ukraine in one of the largest airstrikes since the beginning of the war. 7 people were killed and 44 injured. Get fucked, Putin. Everyone's not scared of you anymore. Last night, Russia attacked a Ukrainian power plant, causing power outages in several locations. But don't worry, because the Ukrainians will not give up.
They're just calling that a number 2 now. Let's do a number 2. Knock out the power plant.
Yeah. Whatever, dude. Keep on trying. Nobody's scared of you, Putin, except for your own people, which is just sad enough.
They already proved that they can't withstand a long, protracted war in Afghanistan. The people just say, "Fuck this! What are we doing there? Who cares?" Right?
Yeah.
But eventually they will. But Putin would have to die first, fortunately.
It is seeming like that's the only solution. Is like he just has to go. Has to go. Mixed metaphor?
Mixed metaphor. Having Diaper Donnie negotiate for your side is like it was like if you're a sheep and the wolf in sheep clothing is negotiating with the alligators. There's your mixed metaphor.
The wolf is just imagining a wolf inside of a sheep's costume talking to alligators on a swamp. If
Donald Trump is on your side, you have nobody on your side. That is the lesson we got to learn here. He's on his own side. He doesn't give a shit what the hell happens to you. He even tells that to his stupid voters, and they just go ahead and vote for him. He doesn't care about us. All right, never mind.
Next story is about Spain. Of course, we're having a lovely genocide happening in Gaza. Just great. And more and more European countries are realizing, hey, wait a minute, this is bad. I don't want to be on the side of history that says we totally let the genocide happen and did nothing. In Spain, which historically has been the causer of many genocides, is starting to intensify its criticism of Israel. I think they have been threatening sanctions on Israel. And now Israel's returned by saying no Spanish people are allowed to come to our country. This is by Suman Nashadam on AP News. Coming out of Madrid, Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez today on the 8th of September ratcheted up his criticism of Israel's action in the 23-month Israel-Hamas war. It's not really. It's more like Israel genocide. I don't know why we're calling it a war when one person is shooting fireworks and the other person is shooting cruise missiles. Which Israel responded by banning 2 left-wing Spanish ministers from the country. Neighborhood. We're shooting hospitals. They're shooting, my farmland. Sanchez made the comments while announcing a raft of measures he said his government was taking to pressure Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government to address the humanitarian crisis caused by its military in the Gaza Strip. This is not self-defense. This is not even an attack. It's the extermination of a defenseless people. It's a violation of all humanitarian laws, and despite that, the international community is failing to stop the tragedy, Sanchez said. Besides formalizing an arms embargo, which the Spanish government said has been de facto in fact since October of 2023, so 2 years, Spain will ban ships carrying fuel for Israel's armed forces from passing through Spanish ports, increasing its humanitarian aid for Gaza in 26 to reach 150 million euros, $176 million, said. The measures would need to be approved in Parliament. So that's his plan. It hasn't been passed yet, but that's what he wants to get passed in Parliament. Other steps include a pledge to increase aid for UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees. So these are people who've already escaped Gaza, known as UNRWA or UNRWA, and to oppose an embargo on goods made in Israeli settlements in the occupied Palestinian territories. So let's say you're making, knitted wool in somewhere in Gaza right now as an Israeli settler. Well, Spain is not going to be buying any of it. They're going to block all of those goods from coming into Spain. Additionally, anyone who directly participates in what Sanchez termed the genocide, okay, AP News, everyone's agreed it's a genocide. You don't have to put it in quotation marks. Everyone agrees they're committing a genocide here. It's okay to call it that.
Not everyone. AIPAC doesn't think so.
Oh, AIPAC isn't included since they're Israelis themselves. And Gaza would not be allowed to enter Spanish territory.
Actually not. They're American. They're American.
Yeah, sure. Netanyahu is also an American. Originally, his name isn't Netanyahu. His original name is some generic white American name, and they a lot of Israelis, when they, got their card to move to Israel, they changed their name to something,
right on.
More fitting of the region.
Your story.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt your story. Sorry.
We know that all these measures will not be enough to stop the invasion of the war or the war crimes, but we hope that they will serve to add pressure on Prime Minister Netanyahu and his government to alleviate some of the suffering that the Palestinian population is enduring, Sanchez said. Response, Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Saar said Sanchez was trying to divert attention from the corruption scandals affecting his Socialist Party and to characterize the Spanish government actions as anti-Semitic.
Wow.
Israeli minister says you're anti-Semitic for being against Israel. In more breaking news, the sky is blue. Saar said on Twitter Israel had banned Spain's Labor Minister Yolanda Diaz and Youth Minister Ciro Rego from traveling the country because they're petty assholes. Both belong to the government's left-wing coalition partner Sumar. Saar said the ministers would be prohibited from entering Israel because they had made statements calling Israel a genocidal state. They hurt my feelings. You're banned from the country and support efforts to sanction or boycott Israel. So much for the freedom of speech. Israel probably doesn't have freedom of speech. They're too fascist for that. Spain's government has been an outspoken critic of Israel's war in Gaza. Hey, if anyone's gonna know what a genocide looked like, it's Spain, okay? I'm just saying, when Spain is like, this is a genocide, you're like, oh, maybe they're right. Maybe they know something, you know? Which began after Hamas-led militants killed around 1,200. Yeah, we know why the Gaza war happened. If you don't know why it happened, that's fine, but everyone knows why. And abducted 251 hostages. Israel offenses have killed more than 64,000 Palestinians, similar to how only 2,000 people, I'm not saying it's a small number, but only 2,000 people died in the 9/11 terror attacks, and then hundreds of thousands of Iraqis were killed, and Afghanistanians were killed in result of that. So that was worth it.
Afghanis.
Eye for 10,000 eyes. According to Gaza Health Ministry, which does not say how many were civilians or combatants. Last year, Spain joined Norway and Ireland to formally recognize as Palestine state and was the first European country to ask the UN court for permission to join South Africa's case accusing Israel of genocide in Gaza, which was taken, of course, to The Hague, the international courts. On today, the 8th of September, Saar downplayed the effect of the Spanish government's actions would have on Israel. We're actually not affected at all by Spain, and none of those things they're going to do is going to work. That is called gaslighting, so that they don't do the things that you're saying. If I just tell you doing it won't work, oh, maybe we should stop then. Yeah, it's all political maneuvering. They want to hold our halt defense connections with Israel, Saar told reporters. Who do you think will lose from that? We don't need Spain to protect the land of Israel. That's why you all... Yeah, I'm sure what you need is the UK to do it. And that's really the pressure here. The more European countries that join in, the more pressure other European countries will join in. And maybe we'll actually get the ones that are affecting the defense connections of Israel, like the UK, like the United States. I don't think the US will ever do it. But I think the UK could be pressured to do it. That's my
The American Nazis, even though they're anti-Jew, would love to see that whole region just erupt in war. So they're definitely in favor of supporting Israel and their stupidity. So you can't count on them for anything. They're anti-Semites, but they'd like to see everybody kill each other. That's their fantasy.
I mean, if you're anti-Semite, seeing a bunch of Semites kill each other is a win in your book, right? Because, I know people don't make this designation, but Semite just means people that are from the Middle East and practice Abrahamic religion. So that's everyone, including Muslims and
Jews in that area,
and the Jews.
It's a general ethnicity more than it is a religion.
Yeah.
But my point is, the Nazis don't care. They'd rather they kill each other. They'd support a total annihilation of everybody. Oh, good, we can drop a bomb on them now. It's basically their end game.
And then clear it out for their own fascist ideas. Give me your next metaphor.
That's who they are. Who said they had to make sense? Like the running of the bulls through the streets of Pamplona. Israel has their own version. It's called the running of the bullshit. And it's quite messy.
The running
quite
of the
messy,
bullshit.
hard to clean up. Quite hard to clean up. Right, so
it's gonna be it's gonna take years to clean it up. Let's roll my next segue for your
roll
stories.
The wheel. Economic Monday. We're going to talk about Reuters.com, which is excuse me.
Alliteration headline.
All right. We got two stories, so I don't know if you want two headlines or one.
Yeah, it's doable. I can spell.
Reuters.com, U.S. manufacturing contracts for 6th straight month amid tariff drag. No, that's not men in drag. Sorry, all you poor little fascists out there. Don't want to attack people in drag. Anyway, Lucia Mutakani is the author of this story. U.S. manufacturing contracted for a 6th straight month in August. Not a coincidence, right? As factories dealt with the fallout from Diaper Donnie's import tariffs, with some manufacturers describing the current business environment as much worse than the Great Recession. Great Recession was George W. Bush's doing. He brought us into that in 2008. So we could have an election and say, boy, that Republican economics really sucks. But then we went back to it for some damn reason. It never works. It never works. That's never worked in the history of anything. Supply side doesn't work. Trickle down doesn't work. It just doesn't. Give rich people all the money and they'll give some back. Oh, okay. Not a plan. The Institute of Supply Management, ISM, survey on Tuesday also showed some manufacturers complaining that the sweeping import duties were making it difficult to manufacture goods in the United States. Well, we make stuff, but everything we want to buy is made in another country. Hey, we gotta make it in the U.S. We don't make it in the U.S. That's the problem. There's no money to make it in the U.S., right? We have to pay our workers at least $7.50 an hour. Other countries don't have to. That's why they're not made in the U.S. You know, here's the thing with oligarchs. They create a problem and act like we created it. They created the fucking problem, manufacturing being gone. Oh, it was unions. Bullshit. You destroyed the unions. You moved south to destroy the unions. That wasn't enough. You had to move to another country. So stop blaming the unions. Anyway, Diaper Donnie has defended his idiotic protectionist trade policy, which has raised the nation's average tariff rate to the highest in a century, as necessary to revive long declining U.S. industrial base. How is that going to work? Let's see. We'll destroy manufacturing in America. That'll bring it back. Wow. That was reinforced by government data showing spending on construction of factories dropped in July and was down 6.7 from a year. What was reinforced? Nothing was reinforced. What are you talking about? Nothing was reinforced. What a weird article. That was it says, according to them, something was reinforced by the government data showing spending on the construction of factories dropped in July. I don't know what was reinforced.
They wanted to recreate the industry in America by putting tariffs. The highest ever been. And then the highest tariffs that ever been were reinforced by no buildings being built, no factories being built. In America.
Not factories being built, factories producing things. This was reinforced by government data showing spending on construction of this is different, construction of factories. Okay, so you're right. Anyway, let me read the story. This was reinforced by government data showing spending on the construction factories dropped in July. It was down 6.7 from a year ago. 6.7 is a lot. As U.S. appeals court ruled Friday that most of Trump's tariffs were illegal, adding more uncertainty for business. So what do? We wait until the tariffs aren't there? I guarantee the people that are paying the tariffs are going to charge for the tariffs as long as they think they're getting threatened with the tariffs. They're going to make that money in advance. They're not going to wait for a tariff to show up. They're going to make that money now. I continue to see a broad economy generally, and the manufacturing sector in particular is holding pattern until tariff-related uncertainty recedes, said Stephen Stanley, a chief U.S. economist at Santander U.S. Capital Markets. The ISM said its manufacturing PMI, man, I love this, edged up 48.7 last month from 48 in July. A PMI reading below 50 indicates contraction in manufacturing, which accounts for 10.2% of the economy. Economists polled by Reuters had forecast the PMI would rise to 49. Still don't know what that means. 7 industries, including textile mills, miscellaneous manufacturing, and primary metals, reported growth last month. Among the 10 industries reporting contraction were makers of paper products, machinery, electrical equipment, appliances, and companies, as well as computer and electronic products. Tariffs continue to dominate commentary from manufacturers. Some makers of transportation equipment said the conditions were worse than the 07-08-09 recession, adding that there's absolutely no activity. This is 100% attributable to the current tariff policy and the uncertainty it has created. Some viewed the conditions as consistent with stagflation. Stagflation means the economy has gone to shit Usually when the economy's gone to shit and nobody's hiring, you get no inflation, but the opposite happens is stagflation. You get inflation and low employment, and basically money
Nobody's
becomes worth
doing
less
anything.
and you have less money.
Yeah.
So that's a bad situation.
It's stagnation. Nothing's happening. It's plateaued.
Stagflation, not stagnation. Some electrical equipment, appliances, and components producers complain that made in the USA has become even more difficult due to tariffs on many components. They said the administration wants manufacturing jobs in the U.S., but we are losing higher skilled and higher paying roles. Others reported that because of the lack of stability in trade and economics, capital expenditures, spending, and hiring are frozen. Manufacturers of computer electronic products said tariffs continue to wreak havoc on planning and scheduling activities, adding that plans to bring production back into the U.S. are impacted by higher material costs, making it difficult to justify the return. Food, beverage, and tobacco products manufacturers warned that everything made of organic sugar was about to get significantly more expensive because of a 50% tariff on imports from Brazil and the U.S. Department of Agriculture's elimination of specialty sugar quota.
Time to build sugar plantations on the in the U.S. there, buddy.
And just in case you're interested in fake money that isn't worth anything, stocks in Wall Street were trading lower as investors worried over the appeals court ruling on the legality of tariffs. Of course, the Wall Street is a gambling casino, and we keep acting like it's a harbinger of a great economy when it's not. It's just a harbinger of rich people taking their profits off the top, are reinvesting their stock buybacks that they got user tax dollars, right? They say, I got a tax refund. Let's buy more stock back and from our investors and then drive the stock price up and then buy more stock and then drive it up and then do it over and over again and create fake wealth for ourselves and take it out of the business and watch everybody lose their job. That's basically what Wall Street does. Stocks on Wall Street were trading lower as investors worried over the appeals court ruling on legality of tariffs. The dollar advanced against a basket of currencies because the dollar being worth more means that inflation is not going away. The USM survey's forward-looking new orders on sub-indexed increased to 51.4. Don't know what that means still. Nonetheless, ISM Manufacturing Business Survey Committee Chair Susan Spence said that for every positive comment about new orders, there were 2.5 comments expressing concern about near-term demand, primarily driven by tariff costs and uncertainty. Yes, the uncertainty is the problem. If I got a tariff, I'm going to charge the tariff if you're threatening me with a tariff. If I'm an importer, you're threatening me with a tariff, I'm charging the tariff to my customer because I know I'm going to get nailed later. Or I fear getting nailed later, so I'm going to jack up my price at least a little to make up for this price I'm going to be paying later. So it's seen in prices almost immediately. As soon as you threaten tariffs, they raise their prices. They aren't going to wait for the tariff. They're going to make their money now.
But also, because they're threatening tariffs, right? The people you're exporting to
are
also threatening tariffs. So then everyone is paying tariffs on everything.
I'm an importer used to paying 10% tariff, right? I'm an importer. I've been paying this 10% tariff, still making money. Now you're making it 50. What am I going to do? I'm going to wait for you to make it 50? No, I'm going to raise my prices now. That's how, this is how capitalism works.
People can get used to the prices now before it happens.
Capitalists make their money on the margins. And the margins are what I bought it for and what I'm selling it for. That's the only time they make money. That's all they give a shit about. They don't give a shit about your job. They don't give a shit about your economy. They don't give a shit about your town. They don't give a shit about your city, your state, or your country. They care about their bottom line. What was my stock price worth Monday? What's it worth Friday? That's all they care about. End of story. You think they're caring about you? They don't. They're capitalists. They care about this. Dollars. Money. Cash. Dinero.
Money.
With production declining, factory employment remains subdued, with ISM noting that layoffs and not filing open positions remain the main headcount management strategy. I love how headcounts are actually people, right? Think about it that way. The grim hiring picture for manufacturing
I hate everything.
Right. Well, it's called reduction, right? We reduce our people to list terms. It makes them not human anymore.
Objectify them.
We have a negative employment outcome. No, you just fired 40 people. That's not a negative employment outcome. You just fired 40 people. The grim hiring picture of manufacturing suggests companies have little confidence that its sustained improvement in demand lies around the corner. Yeah, okay. Said Oliver Allen, senior U.S. economist at Pantheon Macroeconomics, who's probably making money hand over fist in the margins. That's where they make them. sold it for 40, bought it for 25. That's all I care about. Which I'm doing for silver with silver right about now, by the way. Silver's really taken off. Buy silver, everybody. Get in. So I drive the price up for me. Suppliers took a bit longer to deliver factories last month. The ISM survey supplier deliveries index increased from 51.3 to 49.3 in July. A 50 indicates slower deliveries. Lengthening delivery times meant prices paid by factories for inputs remained elevated. The survey's prices paid measure slipped to a still high 63.7 from 64.8 in July. The high reading supports economists' contention that goods prices will accelerate in the second half of this year. Tariffs have been slow to pass through to higher inflation, with economists arguing that businesses are still selling merchandise accumulated before the import duties kicked in. Yeah, they're selling it, but they're not selling it at the previous price. They're probably not jacking it up for the tariff because they haven't had the tariff, as I keep saying. They haven't had the tariff yet, but they're getting ahead of the game. Like the gas prices at the pump. As soon as the price of oil goes up, they raise their price in the gas pump. As soon as the price goes down, they wait 3 days and then they lower the price. That's how that works. They make that money in those 3 days. Businesses also have been absorbing some of the tariff-related costs, but inventories were drawn down in the second quarter, and companies have warned tariffs are raising their costs, which economists expect will eventually pass on to consumers. Kind of just keep repeating the same thing in this story. Economists expect the AI spending spree to continue because AI, again, is useless. It has no practical application anymore.
I swear that bubble is going to pop sooner than you think.
Yeah, it's going to pop. The only thing driving this AI spending is Wall Street, and it's basically just a false bubble. It's not a real economy. It's nothing that's going to transfer in any kind of profits anytime soon. It's just something they're just using to get rid of people in their employment industry. Less employees. That's the word. That's what the AI bubble's about. Getting rid of humans. And where's your segue? Because I went on way too long.
What did you call it again? The word they were using for getting rid of workers or whatever. That's what all they care about.
Negative workforce outcome?
Yeah, their negative workforce. That's all they care about. They want their workforce to be zero, as in they're paying nobody. So then instead of making 2% of profits off of their, whatever they're doing, they can make 12. That's all they want. And by the way, if there are companies making their profits are 2%, or if anybody's profits is 10%, they are definitely exploiting something. Okay, workers, supply, something. And you should not trust those companies. Anyways, my alliteration is
tariffs don't work. Tariffs don't work if you import all your parts for your manufacturing. Yeah. They don't work. They're just going to make everything expensive for everybody that buys it and put your factory out of business. I'm sorry.
Well, the other thing, right, if I want to go on a little tangent, is they want to, first of all, they, put all of the people who know how to do things in internment camps. So there's nobody to teach any new American workers, right, how to do anything. I read this, I don't know how true the story is, but I saw on threads that they got rid of a Hyundai factory was iced.
Well,
it was iced.
There's a lot of layers to that. They didn't get rid of it.
And now they're like, Korea, can you send over some Korean workers to teach us how to make Hyundai cars? Americans to make Hyundai cars? And it's like, why didn't you just keep those immigrants that already knew how to do it? Why did you just...
Maybe we're not talking about the same story, but there was a Hyundai factory busted with a lot of South Korean non-legal workers at a South Korean plant in the South of America, which only highlights the importance of unions, right? Why did they move to the South, you ask? Because they were a right-to-work state. Why did Hyundai put a factory in the South? Right-to-work state. They don't have to deal with the unions.
Yeah.
And why? What did they do when they didn't have to deal with the unions? They hired foreign workers. They hired South Korean workers and brought them into the country. South Korea is not an economically depressed area. These people could probably find high-paying jobs in South Korea too. but they brought them to America and displaced American workers because you idiots in the South don't want unions in your plant to protect American workers. Look at you idiots. Now you're arresting people.
Yeah, and
it's your problem. You created it. You fascists created this problem.
I've made you go into a tangent now. Into a rant.
I'm sorry. I'm not even the story we're covering.
There's irony in the idea of displacing your own workers because you know hiring immigrants will be cheaper. But then when you're trying to do this anti-immigrant, send them back where they came from bullshit, and then you ask South Korea, hey, can you send back some people to teach Americans how to do that? And it's like, you just deported all of our workers from South Korea back to the country.
They're not going to deport them. They're probably not going to deport them. They're going to make, hopefully what they do is make freaking Hyundai pay a gigantic fine for hiring illegal workers.
Right,
how about that? How about the oligarchs pay a penalty for a change instead of these people are just doing what they're told, right? Hey, want a job in America? Hell yeah. Let's go.
Top Red Bear says, somebody in chat says, I'm a union carpenter, but the union won't even stand up for us because of Georgia. So he has to agree. Yeah, exactly what you're saying, right? Georgia just doesn't. The unions there have no power.
Right to work's one of those Orwellian terms. Right to work sounds great for the workers, don't it? I have a right to work, by golly. Hell, you know who else had a right to work? Slaves. They had a right to work. You have a right to work or a right to get whipped? Which one is it? I'll take the work.
Yeah. Okay. Coercion. We love coercion. My alliteration is tariffs tighten trade, triggering troublesome times of stagflation. I know that last word, but there's no T word for inflation or stagflation.
We'll accept. The judges.
We'll accept it.
Judges! Okay, judges sounded their air horn. All right, next story. This is about more stupidity in the South. You think the South is stupid? Well, they're just getting stupider. This is about Florida.
The reason Roger has a thing against the South is he's from Wisconsin, okay?
I'm not heavily biased against the South, but I've been there. All the states that everybody talks about, and yeah, they all suck. They all do. They have their bright spots, like Alabama's got Huntsville, right? There's smart people there because they got a NASA base. They got scientists as like a great portion of the population. But the rest of Alabama, you could just give them away. Just give them to another country.
Sweet home Alabama.
Yeah. So Florida, speaking of stupid states full of idiots, sorry if you live in Florida, you're probably not an idiot.
Politicians, for sure, are guaranteed idiots.
Watching this show, yeah. You are what we call a diamond in the rough if you're actually a smart person in Florida. You're a lonely, lonely person. APnews.com, Florida's planning to drop a school vaccine. Rule won't start for 90 days. This is from Ed White from AP. Florida's plan to drop school vaccine mandates likely won't take effect for 90 days and would include only chickenpox and a few other illnesses unless lawmakers decide to extend it to other diseases. Why do they got to get chickenpox? They want people to get chickenpox? What a bunch of idiots. Oh, wait. Unless lawmakers decide to extend it to other diseases like polio and measles. Yeah, let's let polio and measles come. The health department said Sunday. The department responded to a request for details 4 days after Florida Surgeon General Joseph Ladapo said the state would become the first to make vaccinations voluntary and let families decide whether to inoculate their children. Dr. Joseph Ladapo should be put immediately in prison.
Investigated and medical license taken away.
Yeah, any doctor that says vaccinations for going to school should be voluntary should be have his license taken away. Bull fucking shit. You send your fucking kid to my fucking school and get my fucking kid sick because you didn't want to vaccinate it, I'm burning down your house. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm proactive on this shit. Fuck you. You're trying to kill my kid, motherfucker.
This is a joke. He is not an arsonist.
I'm just saying, actions come with consequences, don't they? Just stop trying to fucking kill children. How about that? It is a retreat from decades of public policies and research that has shown vaccines to be safe and the most effective way to stop the spread of communicable disease. Oh, wait, but 1 in 100,000 people get it. Oh, yeah, 1 in 100,000 get a rash. Let's totally throw out the vaccines and start over. What a bunch of shit. Despite that evidence, Brainworm Bobby, who is somehow the U.S. Health Secretary, one of the stupidest people on the planet, actually outstupids Trump because he talks like he's intelligent, and the words that come out of his mouth make no literal sense. Listen to the guy talk. He makes no fucking sense. Just listen to him. Even Republicans hate him. The only reason he still has his job is because a few Republicans are still afraid of Trump. But most of them are like, nah, we can't. We just can't. Nobody likes this fucking guy. Nobody. But he gets to make our health policy. Somebody make it make sense. Florida's plan would lift mandates on school vaccines. Freedom! On school vaccine, here, no mandates on hepatitis B, chickenpox, HIV influenza, pneumococcal diseases such as meningitis, the health department said. Enjoy your children dying at the age of 4 as soon as they get to school.
Meningitis is the
oh, my kid's in Head Start. Oh no, he's dead now. The department indicate again, this only really matters to young children. You know that, right? You know, this only really matters to little kids, defenseless against the world, and you're going to put them in public school to die. That's what you're going to do, people, Florida. You're killing your children. Congratulations, pro-lifers. You make the woman give birth to the kid, you raise him for 5 years, send her to school, and she says, hey, you know what? I don't give a shit about vaccinations. I believe this horse shit. I believe from Brainworm Bobby told me their vaccines are terrible. And so she sends her kid to school with no vaccinations and wipes out the entire population of a town. Hey, way to go. Freedom. The department initiated a rule change on September 3rd, 2025, and anticipates the rule change will not be effective for 90 days. The state told Associated Press. Well, at least Florida's going to be the canary in a coal mine. You're going to watch all these children die. All other vaccinations required under Florida law to attend school remain in place unless updated through legislation, including vaccines for measles, polio, diphtheria, pertussis, mumps, and tetanus, the department said. What are all these diseases I've never heard of before, you're saying? The reason you haven't heard of them before? Vaccines! Yeah. They used to wipe out people. Now they don't. Ha! Vaccines work. Wow, it's a miracle. Vaccines have always worked. They've never not worked. This bullshit about side effects.
Do they have some side effects? Yeah, but you know what the other side effect is? Death. That's the other side effect. Side effect of not taking them. Yeah, the side effect is not taking them. It's not just death. It's a epidemic, maybe a pandemic. Those are side effects. Lawmakers don't meet again until January 26th. A little committee meetings beginning in October. La Dapo, appearing on Sunday on CNN, repeated his message of free choice for childhood vaccines. Out there, they get them damn fancy degrees up there in them damn northeastern colleges. Go and tell us what to do. Let me have some more moonshine. That's not a direct quote, but it's close. If you want them, God bless, you can have as many as you want. Oh yeah, vaccines. That's how they work. You can have as many as you want. Give me all the vaccines. Give me 5. Give me 5 measles vaccines. That's not how it works. This is an actual person with a doctor before his name saying that. You can get as many as you want. It's that simple. Unfortunately for this moron, that's not how vaccines work. He probably didn't go to medical school. If you have a certain portion of the population unvaccinated, it doesn't matter if everybody else is vaccinated, because they're going to spread it all over the adult population because adults aren't vaccinated. Hey, your vaccinations wear off after a while. But again, stupid people can't think this way. They got to think in the short term in their own little frick world where only they matter. Their society don't matter. I'm on my own. I'm a cowboy. I'm out here in the range by myself, even though all my neighbors are within 50 feet of me. Florida currently has a religious exemption for vaccine requirements, which is horse shit again. If you want a religious exemption, go to religious school. Don't come to my school. Vaccines has saved at least 154 million lives globally. 50 years, the World Health Organization reported. It's probably more than that. The majority of those were infants and children. It's only going to kill children. I'm telling you. Yeah, it'll spread amongst adults. Most adults don't die of measles or any of this shit. They just spread it. Dr. Rana Alisa, chair of the Florida chapter American Academy of Pediatrics, and making vaccines. We finally get the other side. So making vaccines voluntary puts students and school staff at risk. This is the worst year for measles in the U.S. in more than 3 decades, with more than 1,400 cases confirmed nationwide, most of them in Texas.
And 3 deaths. Of course, Florida said to Texas, hold my beer. We can outdo you there. Whooping cough has killed at least 2 babies in Louisiana, another Confederate ignorant state. A 5-year-old in Washington state, and that is a liberal state, nominally, since winter, as it too spreads rapidly. So, whooping cough killing people. There have been more than 19,000 cases as of August 23, nearly 2,000 more than this time last year, according to preliminary CDC data. So there's your story. Brainword Bobby getting to work, killing our population, but he's starting with Florida. At least that's a good place to start. I don't know. What can I say? Good luck. Good luck, Florida. You're on your own. Don't expect me to visit ever.
Start protesting.
If I'm in Florida,
and now to stop this.
If I'm ever in Florida again, it's because my flight's been redirected through one of their airports, because I'm never going for any reason. I'm sorry, go ahead.
All right, I've got an alliteration for ya, which goes like so. Florida's fervent fight freezes future freedoms.
Yee!
Freedom to live taken away from you. Completely.
Yeah, the most important freedom. Freedom from disease. How about that one? No, wait. One person got inconvenienced by this. That's not actually in the Constitution.
You're not protected from not dying from disease in the Constitution.
You don't have one person got sick one time. Look at these side effects. Well, somebody got a headache one time. Oh shit, not a headache.
Our next
I just care about profit. That's all I care about.
Segue is associate. And you need to associate this story with something. Anything you can think of.
Right.
My story is a long one, but only one, and it's about Belgium. That's right. Belgium has joined the Netherlands and probably other countries who've been protesting against the Gaza genocide in Brussels. This is by Euronews, Evelyn Anne Marie Dom. It comes days after Belgium announced it would impose sanctions against Israel and recognize Palestine at the UN General Assembly later this month. Protest organizers say that this is a result of public pressure and urge demonstrators to keep taking to the streets. Tens of thousands of demonstrators wearing red gathered in Brussels on Sunday, which I believe was the 7th of September, to protest against the Israeli government and to draw a symbolic red line against its war in Gaza. Protesters are also calling on EU member states to take a tougher stance and impose firm sanctions against Israel. Local police estimated around 70,000 demonstrators took part in the second edition of Brussels' Red Line for Gaza March, but protest organizers estimate 110,000 people in the march across the Belgian capital, which was 3.5 kilometers long. As in, there was just lines of people for 3.5 kilometers. More than 200 human rights groups, aid agencies, including Oxfam, Doctors Without Borders, Amnesty International, Greenpeace, and Save the Children, and more participated on drawing the red line, which as in drawing the red line to not continue killing children in Gaza. The protest comes days after Belgium announced it would join the United Kingdom and France in recognizing a Palestinian state at the United Nations General Assembly later this month and would impose sanctions against Israel under certain conditions. What about just completely? I'm tired of this. Under certain conditions, just do it. Completely. Also, the reason this is important is because as soon as you recognize the Palestinians, you can recognize they're doing a genocide in Palestine, and then you can say, hey, we're not going to let you do a genocide. That's why it's important that they recognize Palestine as a place. The compromise that the government reached would never have been there if we would not have the previous march and launch Oxfam's Speak Up for Palestine campaign, now with 100,000 signatures. Adrian van der Heide, team leader of education at Oxfam Belgium, told Euronews, emphasizing the importance of maintaining public pressure on EU politicians. Yes, keep pressuring them, because European politicians will fold to your pressure, okay? They really want to be liked. Unlike some politicians who don't care if you like them because they're fascist. Oxfam Belgium teamed up with hundreds of Flemish actors, artists and influencers in launching the Speak Up for Palestine action. The campaign has already raised 100,000 signatures, calling for a permanent ceasefire and an end to violence and illegal occupation in Palestinian territories, safe and unrestricted access to humanitarian aid for Palestinian civilians, and the introduction of economic sanctions on Israel. While many demonstrators in Brussels acknowledge this step forward, they are not satisfied with the compromise that was reached and want to see Belgium further toughen its stance against Israel, like Spain is doing, with the uncompromised sanctions for EU member states and the European itself to follow suit. That's right, the entire European Union needs to go, you know what, we aren't going to support a genocide. You don't compromise about children's lives or people's lives, Van der Heyde said. You don't compromise on a government. Don't draw a red line. You have to draw a red line, which is non-negotiable. Van der Heyden pointed out that a standing discrepancy divides the public and the EU politicians, with a stark contrast between the rage that people feel, the feeling of injustice, and the extreme immobility of politicians. Why aren't they doing anything except for, wow, it sucks that there's a genocide over there. Anyways, we have been asking our politicians for 2 years to intervene in Palestine. Isha Pouston, spokesperson for the global movement to Gaza in Belgium, told Euronews. They are still not discussing about the recognition of a Palestinian state by the end of December, when in reality, there might not be any Palestinians left by that time. The global movement to Gaza is a grassroots coalition consisting of 44 countries that are dedicated to ending the blockade of Gaza. Last week, 20 ships with more than 300 crew members as part of the global subdued flotilla departed from the port of Barcelona in an effort to establish a humanitarian corridor. Ships from other countries, including Tunisia and Italy, will join efforts to break the siege. Earlier this week, a convoy from Italy's Genoa joined the flotilla. After several delays, the Gaza-bound ships are now expected to set sail this Wednesday from Tunisia. Tunisia. I can't say that word, but you.
Tunisia.
Thank you. My mouth just refuses to say the word. In recent weeks, numerous pro-Palestine demonstrations took place across the continent, including Ireland, Italy, Germany, and the United Kingdom and Spain. The rise in European solidarity comes in response to Israel's expanded offensive in Gaza, which had drawn international condemnation and the catastrophic humanitarian conditions of the trip. Reminder, there's also been more news about how they only let people have like a cup of water a day. And most doctors recommend you drink a liter of water a day, and they're letting people only have a cup of water a day. That's not enough to live. Malnutrition is rampant in Gaza because they're not letting people aid. That's why they're adding more and more boats to the flotilla in a vain hope that one of them, just one of these boats, will be able to get in there and give people food and water. This is why it's a genocide. They're not letting people eat or drink or live.
It's a genocide because they don't consider them human beings. That's 100%. Why it's a genocide.
Yeah. 100%. And they are human beings. In recent weeks, numerous pro-Palestinian demonstrations...
dehumanized them.
Wait, did I already read this one? Yeah, I already read that. Sorry.
Yeah.
In June, the first edition of March in Brussels took place, where at least 5,000 people took to the streets of the Belgian capital. Red Line for Gaza March also has already twice been held in the Netherlands, which resulted in a massive turnout both times. So yet again, the Benelux countries are carrying the push forward, and sadly, as small countries, no one cares. I know Brussels is where the EU's central government is, but no, we need a big country to do this. We need France. Where's France? France is the huge protest country. Where are they for Gaza?
Didn't
Germany
France recognize Palestine? I'm pretty sure France
Spain needs to draw the red line. We just talked earlier, right, about how they want to do sanctions and stop the genocide. They need to have a massive protest just like this, drawing the red line, saying we are not going to allow Israel to continue killing people because they don't see them as human. The war in Gaza began. We already know why it started. They took hostages, and now they're killing more than 64,000 people. We know this already. It's a crime against humanity at this point. More than 2 million people have been displaced from Gaza, as in they lived there, and then they've been forced out through settler colonialism, all out of other famines. Reminder, for anybody who doesn't know, Israel controls Gaza's water supply, so they can just shut down the water and say, no water for you, assholes. And go die, I guess. Go die of dehydration.
Or disease.
There's your story. Yet again, of this terrible genocide, but more people are giving them support, and hopefully more and more countries will do it. But yeah, like they said, right, by September, there might not be anybody to freaking save. It's still hot. The planet is still hot. People are still malnourished.
That's actually their plan. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to exterminate people. Let's not pretend that's not what's going on. They're trying to exterminate people. My association, which you brought it up, is that Brussels is a good place to protest because it's not only the center of government for the European Union, it's also the headquarters of NATO. So there's your little association of why Brussels is actually a pretty good place to protest. It's like, why are we, why? I doubt we're going to do any kind of military action in Gaza because it'll just be another quagmire into the big quagmire it already is. But just cut off Israel. Just cut them off. Stop sending them weapons. Screw them. They want to fight a war? Fight a war. We're not going to give you anything. There's got to be political will for that. And the American Democratic Party needs to run on that. Just cutting off Israel. Fuck them. Fuck Israel. They will win the election hands down. Stop sending weapons to Israel to kill children. Pro-lifers. All right. You have another story?
No, but I do need to. That's your associate, right?
Yeah, it was associated in Brussels with, peacekeeping forces,
NATO,
right?
Yeah.
Well, NATO.
People who are supposed to be stopping,
And we'll do our...
People dying for no reason at this point, really. Our next segue is going to be a non sequitur.
Non sequitur for my two stories. We're going to get to the...
news and your obituary news. No, not obituary.
Obituaries. We don't do obituaries on Monday unless somebody really famous died over the weekend. And nobody that I heard of. But somebody's recording career died along. Well, that was John Fogarty. He had to quit CCR and stop recording music because his rip-off manager had all the rights to his songs.
Classic.
He even got sued.
Classic scenario.
He even got sued by his own manager for plagiarizing one of the songs that he actually wrote, which is amazing. That somebody actually took a case to court to say you plagiarized your own song, which is complete horseshit. Of course, that was thrown out. But that didn't stop John Fogarty from recording his own songs. But now, thanks to his wife, he has the rights to all of his songs he wrote for Creedence Clearwater Revival over 50 years ago. This is from Billboard.com. John Fogarty's re-recorded Legacy Hits album makes a top 10 debut. This is by Keith Caulfield. The set, which revisits Creedence Clearwater Revival's hits, also arrives on the Independent Albums and Americana Folk Albums chart. Probably number one on those. John Fogarty's new legacy, the Creedence Clearwater Revival Years, John's version collection, a set of re-recorded hits from his years on as the frontman of Creedence Clearwater Revival, makes a top 10 debut on Billboard's top album sales chart. The set launches at number 9 with nearly 8,000 copies sold in the United States in the week ending August 28th, 2025. That was last week sometime. 8,000 copies of an album is these days because, there's very limited album sales, right? The project also bows to the Americana Folk Albums chart. The project also bows on the... I don't even know. I don't think they're using that word right. The Americana Folk Albums chart at number 13 and Independence Albums at number 5. Okay, well, maybe not so high. Creedence Clearwater Revival, or CCR, earned 16 hits on the Billboard Hot 100 from 1968 to 1976, including 9 top 10s, 6 of which peaked at number 2. Among Creedence Hot 100 hits that Fogarty re-recorded for the new album, Proud Mary, Bad Moon Rising, Down on the Corner, Up Around the Bend, all of top 5 charting singles. Billboard's top album sales chart ranks the top selling albums of the week based only on traditional album sales, which is a very, very limited market. You just download something. You can actually order an album or a CD and have it delivered to your house. You can still have that, boys and girls. The chart's history dates back to May 25th, 1991. The first week, Billboard began tabulating charts with electronically monitored piece count information from SoundScan, now Luminate. Pure album sales were the sole measurement utilized by the Billboard 200 albums chart through the list dated December 6, 2014, after which the chart switched to a methodology that blends album sales with track equivalent album units, or TEA, and streaming equivalent album units, or SEA. Stray Kids collected seven. That's some stupid ad. Never mind. Carmine Legacy of the 2 of the 8 debuts are re-entries in the top 10 this week, joined by LaFay's A Matter of Time, Deftones' Private Music, Tyler the Creator's Cherry Bomb, 3 Days Grace's Alienation, The Who's Live at Oval, 1971, number 7 debut, and The Warnings live from Auditorio National CDMX is number 8. The only holdovers from the top 10 are the K-pop Demon Hunters soundtrack, which climbs from 9 to 5, and Tomorrow X Together's chart-topping The Star Chapter Together. And there's your news on John Fogarty re-recording. It didn't say anything else about it. It just did a bunch of chart news. I was hoping there was more of an in-depth story, but I can give you the background. He recorded the same songs that he recorded with CCR, the same key, almost the same music, really. If you listen to the music
it's
seems
a copy of what
voice is,
Taylor Swift had to do, basically, right? Taylor Swift
did
it on her masters, and she had to re-release all her songs.
Okay. Yeah, Taylor Swift did this, like, in comparison to how John Fogarty did it, she did it like minutes after. In comparison, John Fogarty did this 50-some years.
Yeah,
after
I understand that
his
part.
voice
Yeah.
is, all right,
just saying for anybody who doesn't.
Finish. I'm not done with the story. The point being, he recorded it with his own kid. His kids are playing the music. He didn't even have to hire
pretty
music.
cool.
Train all of it. Yeah. So that's the point I was getting to, not the comparison to Taylor Swift is good. It's a great comparison because it's probably what he realized. Hey, somebody can do this. And that's what he did. It took years, but he finally got the rights to his music. Costs money, of course, but now all those songs that he's recording are now his alone. John Fogarty to do whatever he wants to, and he gets all of the royalties. So good for him. He got his catalog back. It took him years, and now he's recording it. Let's have a non sequitur before I do my own next story.
I guess that is my non sequitur right there.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I interrupted.
Yeah. Taylor Swift, of course, also lost her master. She did way sooner, though, because she's still popular right now. Not saying they weren't popular, but they're not popular now, right? This is more of a revival of their music in general, but I didn't know their story. I remember watching, I think, a YouTube video about the entire history of the band and how they were on the top, and then they just stopped. They were like, shit. Oh. We lost all our money.
The reason they stopped, of course, the reason they broke up is because their manager had all the rights to all their songs, and John Fogarty signed a ridiculous contract, which I think he had to turn in 500 songs to this guy with no rights, And he's like, I quit. I ain't doing this anymore.
I mean, back then it was so popular too, right? Bob Dylan also had like a shitty fucking record deal where he just released whatever just to get out of it.
Yeah, everybody does it. Bob Dylan definitely wasn't losing money like CCR was. He was a little bit smarter than he is. But what they did is they gave each other a 25% share in the band. And unbeknownst to John Fogarty, 3 of his band members sold their share to their band manager. So he had 75% of the rights to the band. His band members had none. He had 25%. The manager convinced them to do that too. Scumbag. So why would I be writing these songs to make these other guys rich? And it built a lot of resentment. You can't be in a band where the other 3 members just sold you out personally because you're the guy who writes all the songs.
And that's what happened. That's what happened to our 3 weeks ago between those 2. What was the name of that band with the 2 people?
No idea.
Her name. Hall & Oates. Hall & Oates did the same thing. They broke up.
Hall & Oates. Oh yeah, I think they've settled now.
They're selling your stock. You're selling your 50% stock, and I'm just saying this is a famous thing that breaks bands up.
The original thing that breaks bands up is the original reason they got into music in the first place was to get laid. And so when these guys get money At first, they think it's their money when it's not. It's the record company advancing them money on their contract, which is a 5-year contract, which calls for 5 albums. You only produce 1 album, and you've already spent all your advance money, and you got nothing left coming to you. That's what breaks up bands. We don't have any money. I thought we just signed a contract. Yeah, you didn't read the contract. Okay, so next story.
And that's why we're here for people with who are illiterate to teach them to read. That's why we're all here.
Right.
Don't fall for those scummy record deals. Your
typical rock star, about as smart as a pillow, and he spends more time in bed than a pillow. But with groupies, because he's having a good time, he doesn't care. Hey, you ripped me off. And the other company's like, yeah, you didn't read your contract? Sorry, you didn't read it. Sorry, moron. So that's how that works. Our next story, Dad breaks his silence after we're talking about sports this weekend is our update. The U.S. Open in tennis is over. You know, the NFL football season started, but the big story in sports is people fighting over a baseball. We had the cap story from the U.S. Open last week. This week we got a baseball game in San Diego. It's from People.com. Nicholas Rice, Dad breaks his silence after a fellow Phillies fan demanded home run ball from his young son. I'm still in disbelief. Drew Feltwell, the father who got into words with a woman who demanded a home run ball during a recent Philadelphia Phillies game, has spoken out. He told the local outlet he was celebrating his son's 10th birthday when the now viral ordeal took place. If you want to watch this, it's viral. Drew said he is in disbelief over the situation involving his son Lincoln at the Lone Depot Park on September 5th. The father involved in the drama surrounding a woman is demanding a home run ball. The father involved in the drama surrounding a woman who demanded a home run ball to the Philadelphia Phillies game is breaking his silence. Drew Feltwell and his young son Lincoln attended the match between the Phillies and Miami Marlins. I was thinking this was in San Diego for some reason. It was between the Phillies and the Miami Marlins September 5th when a home run hit by Harrison Bader came their way at the Lone Depot. So they're out in the outfield and left field. Several fans attempted to grab the ball, but Drew was able to secure it and walked over to give it to Lincoln, dropping it in his glove and giving him a big hug. "I got your ball!" However, the dad was met by opposition from another baseball fan who grabbed the child's arm, which is assault, and appeared to berate him, which is assault and battery. As seen in video footage that has since gone viral. This woman should be put in jail. Now speaking with the NBC Philadelphia, Drew said he was attending the MLB game with his wife, daughter, and son Lincoln to mark the child's 10th birthday. "We're just trying to make this week about him," he told the outlet of the preteen. "I felt like a super dad putting that ball in his glove and giving him a hug. Yeah, I had to knock out an old lady, but it was worth it." No, I'm just kidding. That didn't happen. Explaining that he is still in disbelief that she walked down there like that, Drew told NBC 10 Philadelphia as he is instead more focused on just trying to set an example of how to de-escalate a situation in front of my son. In a viral video shared online for an altercation, the upset Phillies fan could be heard telling Drew, "That was ours! You took it from me!" The woman told the father, adding, "You took it from me! That was in my hands!" After a few, once again, if it's a foul ball and it's 2 adults going after it, you're on your own, man. If you lose, you lose. That's the rules. Them's the rules, folks. Them's the rules. You put some skin in the game and you lost some skin. That's the way it goes. After a few seconds of arguing, Drew could be seen giving in to the upset fan. Hysterical lady. I'm using the word hysterical here because she was obviously out of her fucking mind. Reaching into the son's glove for the baseball and giving it to the woman. "Okay, fine," he said, according to the fan-captured clip, prompting the woman to respond back with the same. Despite the less than ideal interaction, an employee at the stadium later brought Lincoln a gift bag, as seen in the footage, if you can watch the footage online. That was shared online. The boy also got to meet Harrison Bader, one of his baseball heroes. Got to meet him himself, the guy who hit the home run ball. He signed it. Yeah, signed a bat. The Phillies center fielder gave Lincoln a signed bat. So he made out pretty damn well. "We ended up having a good night because of the good people," Drew told NBC 10 Philadelphia. "I wish I had a ball for my son to put in his room next to the bat. But if I had the ball, I probably wouldn't have gotten the bat. So it worked out fine." And he's grateful. And again, my son learned that all people are shitheads. And though he had added that putting the ball in his glove and then taking it back out killed me, Drew said he would still respect the woman if she came forward, apologize, and return the item. I hope that ball means a lot to her, he said with deep sarcasm. So that's your story. Your story.
Honestly, it sounds like somebody who's had a very sad childhood, right? Like some woman who's never been able to get the ball. So she's like, finally, my chance. I can take it from this child.
Yes.
And she lost her chance, and then she... Wow. I guess that's my non sequitur is there's Karens everywhere. And I can't, and there's also there's whatever I can't remember the word for male Karens, but there's also men Karens out there too.
Kyle? I think it's Kyle. I don't know any Kyles.
Yeah, there's Kyles and Karens out there, and they're all missing a chunk of humanity because of some traumatic thing that happened to them in their childhood, and they need to go to therapy. So if you think stealing a sports prize out of a child's hand or taking one from a child is the right thing to do, I advise you go to therapy. This is my PSA to you. Go to therapy, please.
Yep.
Talk
and that's
to somebody.
A lesson on how to de-escalate from this gentleman because he could have very easily said, "Hey, my wife's here, going to kick your ass right now if you don't leave." And she might have.
There's definitely plenty of people out there who would just punch you right in the nose.
And if you're stealing something from a 10-year-old boy, you got issues. Sorry.
What was the saying? What's his name? The boxer said, right? People have forgotten what it's like to get punched in the face.
Wow, you need to learn these. You need to learn these freaking lessons in life and stop asking me. Someday I won't be around to tell you. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. That's what
Thank you.
Okay, remember that. Don't just try to refer back to me. You want to have that luxury.
Wisdom
someday.
from Roger, and then the more you know theme plays.
Right.
Let's roll the wheel.
Okay, your story
for my culture news. Right. Already gonna be dinner time here for me soon. I'm hungry. Accurate metaphor simile. Metaphor man.
Okay. Accurate. Wow. Okay. From
gotta be accurate.
The VMA Awards. Oh yeah.
Yes, the VMA Awards is what we're talking about today. Because I just have
there?
to. I didn't watch it. I don't really care for it, but we're gonna talk about it. This is by The Guardian. On The Guardian by Adrian Horton. Lady Gaga, Ariana Grande, and Sabrina Carpenter triumphed at the MTV Video Music Awards, taking home 2 Moon Man trophies, each in a relatively muted show that once again largely celebrated female pop artists and legacy acts. The girlies are still going. Gaga, the most nominated artist of the evening with 12 nods, took home the first award at Long Island's UBS Arena for Artist of the Year, winning over fellow superstars Taylor Swift, Bad Bunny, Beyonce, all of whom were not in attendance. Of course, everyone says VMAs is famously an attendance award, so if you don't show up, you're not going to get an award. Usually. Not always the case, but usually it's the disease.
Did Kanye
singer
show up? That's the only thing I'm worried about.
No, I hope not. I think he's been banned from all award shows ever since he makes his wife show up naked to the... At least everyone's assuming, right? We're infantilizing his wife and saying that he's forcing her to go up naked to the red carpets or whatever. Let's not talk about him, the Nazi man. Yeah. I think it's crazy because I do think Taylor Swift has been in the news more than Lady Gaga. Not saying Lady Gaga, it's not deserved for Lady Gaga, but I do feel like Taylor Swift was in. But she did have a great album come out and a lot of great videos come out. So the Disney singer dedicated the award to the audience, and her partner Michael Polanski then dashed off the final show on her Mayhem tour at Madison Square Garden. Thank you for this award. I'm out of here. Go see. Oh, you're not going to be there because you're all here. I cannot begin to tell you what this means to me, the singer said, dressed in a Baroque black gown. I hope as you navigate through the mayhem of daily life, you are reminded of the importance of the art of your life, that you can count on yourself and your simple skills to keep it whole. Wow, she looks great in that completely black outfit. Even her hair is black. Gaga's absence was one of many in a 3-hour show that was relatively light on Star Power and Awards. The ceremony was emceed by a largely off-screen LL Cool J and out only 7 awards during the telecast, all of them to female artists, and Bruno Mars for his collaboration with artist. His duet with Lady Gaga, Die With A Smile, won Best Collaboration, while his track with Blackpink member Rosé was crowned Song of the Year. I was hearing it a lot last year and this year. For anyone who doesn't know, you're applicable to the awards, I think, from June of 2024 to June of 2025, so that is what they consider the year. Which is a really weird thing to do, because I think they also have summer Song of the Year, but then they cut off the award in the middle of the summer. Like your application to be in it in the middle of summer. This is a really big moment for 16-year-old me and anyone else who has dreamed about being accepted equally for their hard work, Rosé said in a lengthy emotion. Sabrina Carpenter won Album of the Year for Short and Sweet and Best Pop Artist, while Grande won Best Pop Video and the evening's top award, Video of the Year, for Brighter Days Ahead. I am sorry, I haven't seen anything from Ariana Grande. I didn't even know she released music, but I'm not really a pop girly, so I'm not going to be listening to this stuff.
She has some good songs, man.
I watch YouTubers who cover pop music, and that's where I hear about this stuff. I don't look for it myself. I apologize, guys. I like listening. I'm a hipster, okay? I'll admit
VMAs are kind of a scam anyway. They are. Yeah. Sorry.
I think all Western shows are scams because, unfortunately, especially Americans, this is, especially LA, not the most straightforward, people. They're very fake.
Reward shows, reward stars, and they need ratings. So they need the stars to show up, and the stars won't show up unless they're getting an award. So there you go. It's just it's the thing to get clicks and views and eyeballs.
This project is about the hard work that is healing all different kinds of trauma and coming home to our young selves and creating safety in our own lives, which is a lifelong process and a daily exercise, Grande said, accepting the award. If you're on that journey, please continue onward, because I promise there are brighter days ahead. As not typical, the VMAs nodded towards the globalization and genre blends in popular music. Colombian superstar J Balvin, French producer DJ Snake. My dyslexia, when I see his name, my dyslexia activates. I'm like, I can't read that. Teamed up for his next track, Noventa, multinational girl group Cat's Eye. Team with members from the Philippines, South Korea, Switzerland, and the U.S. Won for Push Performance of the Year. And Post Malone and Jelly Roll, beaming in from their tour stop in Munich, represented the ongoing countryification of pop with their boost-soaked anthem Losers. Reminder that Post Malone started as a country/rock star, and then he went into the rap thing. Now people are calling him a poser, which I think they were calling him a poser to begin with.
Basically, a performer is a poser. It's their job.
That's what they're supposed to do. They're trying to look for the demographic that will like them the most, and then zone in on that demographic. That's how you make a lot of money and become a billionaire. But the show skewed heavily towards women in pop, with performances from Doja Cat, Canadian singer Tate McRae, Carpenter, who delivered a retro-themed performance of Tears, accompanied by a who's of RuPaul's Drag Race stars, and ballroom icons as a statement on protecting trans rights. Hell yeah! In recent years, the show, once known for delivering culture-defining moments, has been more attuned to legacy than its potential to ones. Oh, you remember all these old people that are dead, or dying, or dead? Let's give them the show. Introducing new Lifetime Achievement Awards. Inaugural Latin icon honoree Ricky Martin performed a medley of hits including Live la Vida Loca, Pegate, Maria, and The Cup of Life, and attributed his 40-year career to his fans. All of them who didn't know he was gay, like my mom.
40 years. Well, of course, he started as a child in Menudo.
Yeah, of course. No one's business if he was gay when he was a child, but my mom was in denial. I remember mom was in denial. He's not gay. Okay, there.
And what difference does it make if he's gay? Who cares?
He's still
if you like his music, if you like his music, you like the music. If you don't like it, you don't like it. He gives a shit.
If he's gay, he makes good music and he's hot, what do you care? That's what I do.
Unless he's molesting children or selling people on the open market, he's doing things that please him. But leave him alone. Okay?
LL Cool J celebrated fellow hip-hop pioneer Busta Rhymes for the Rock the Bells Visionary Award, calling him a sonic equivalent of a time bomb. Busta Rhymes powered through a heavily bleeped medley of his rapid-fire bars alongside guest Gorilla, Cliff Star, and Joyner Lucas. I can't believe we're still blocking. As soon as TV stops blocking curse words, ABC. YouTube will be freed from this
TV
stupidity.
Will vanish before that happens.
Probably.
It'll vanish before that happens.
Before accepting the award, named for a 1985 LL Cool J track with a brief speech. Next time y'all take 35 years to give me one of these, then I'll take as long as I want.
Oh, God.
Thankfully for his family, thanked his family, God, DJ Scratch, the late Anada Lewis, 1990s MTV host who loved the culture and lifted us up. Died of cancer this year at the age of 52. Nobody talked about her. Mariah Carey was presented with the Video Vanguard Award by Ariana Grande, becoming the 8th consecutive woman to win the evening's top lifetime achievement honor. All these people are in music for a long time. Here's an award. I can't believe I'm getting my first VMA. That's actually tragic. What the fuck? Mariah Carey has never gotten a VMA until.
For what?
I'm just saying, she hasn't gotten a single one until now when you're an old woman now. Here's your award.
I'm saying, what's the videos she's making a VMA for? I mean,
freaking the Christmas song at least.
Oh, God. The song everybody hates? Yeah.
Whatever. I don't care if you hate it.
It's a video award. I mean,
it's a video. It has a video. She's in the Sam suit and everything.
Everybody makes videos, but my point is, what's so great about her videos as compared to everybody else's? Somebody else is actually making these videos. It isn't like the singers are making them.
I just can't believe I'm getting my first VMA tonight. I just have one question. What in the Sam Hill were you waiting for? Carrie joked after performing a medley of her hits. Music videos are my way of life and bringing music to my own life. Let's be honest, sometimes they're just an excuse to bring the drama and do things I wouldn't do in real life. Music evolves, but fun, that is eternal. The show also celebrated Ozzy Osbourne, who died in July. English singer Youngblood paid tribute to the Prince of Darkness through a rendition of Black Sabbath's classic Crazy Train and Changes. And Aerosmith's Steven Tyler and Joe Perry joined in for Mama, I'm Coming Home. Additional performances on the night include Somber, Conan Gray, TikTok star turned musician Alex Warren, who was awarded Best New Artist before the telecast. I think his improbable hit "Ordinary." It's an ordinary. You probably heard that song on Shorts and TikToks. Longest running #1 of the year. Congratulations, Alex Warren, for that, I guess. And there's your update on the VMAs. If you missed anything, let us know because like I said, I did not watch it.
My metaphor for all reward shows is a circle jerk.
Yep.
And that's all it is. A circle jerk.
Celebrate ourselves.
Yeah, you're not jerking yourself off, you're jerking off the person next to you. So that's what a circle jerk is. However,
thanks for explaining what a circle jerk is for the 12-year-olds in chat right now.
A lot of people don't know what a circle jerk is. Okay. And but my actual more profound, I don't know, metaphor would be, it's like I'll precursor this by saying that shitty songs never win the VMA, right? There's never like, oh, this song was never a hit, but the video was great, so we're going to nominate it. That never happens, so it's complete crap. And it's kind of like having a chef competition where the people that eat the food are. That's what it is. That's what a video art is. Because the videos themselves are secondary to the music. If the music wasn't a hit, the video is not.
No one's going to see the video. There's tons of great videos out there that are not great songs.
Yeah, and a lot of times they just reward the song you like the best. You can look it up. The video. Oh, why would that video? That was boring. Yeah, but the song was good. Instead of VMAs are just a circle jerk. That's my long way to say it. It's like, you're rewarding the people that eat the food that didn't prepare the food at all, right? You just made a video.
That already.
I made a video of a hit song, and it's basically just the person singing it. But I got a VMA. If anybody doesn't
understand the metaphor now, he's explained it twice for us.
I'm just saying. That's why I said it that way. Because, the people that make these videos are not really doing except making a video of the song. And that's it. There's nothing creative about a lot of them. It's just like, okay, it's a video.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched the video of the year, so I'll have to watch it, I guess, and my own decision.
Yeah, that's my long long way of saying it's a circle jerk. The only reason the people famous show up is because they're going to get awards, and the reason getting awards is because they're famous, and the only reason you're watching it is because a famous person is there getting an award. And there's not an award show, it's a circle jerk. And on to this day in history.
Next segue is bad pun.
Bad pun goes back to 1504. Michelangelo, you can make a pun of that name, laid on his back and painted the Sistine Chapel, but before that, he was off doing Michelangelo's David. It was unveiled in Piazza della Signoria in Florence, considered a masterpiece. The sculpture is one of the defining works of the Renaissance. Of course, in America, we would make David cover up his naughty bits because we're a bunch of idiots in this country. 1664, as part of the Anglo-Dutch War, it was a guy named as part of the Anglo-Dutch War, the Duke of York, later named James II, took the city of Amsterdam, whose name was changed to New York. So 1664, one of the only things that the Duke of York did when he was the son of James I, or actually Charles II, he was the son of Charles II, he took over New York. So happy birthday, New York. You've been called New York since 1664 on this day. Congratulations. No longer New Amsterdam. 1781, American troops commanded by General Nathaniel Greene defeated British forces under Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Stewart, probably related to me and you, in the Battle of Etah Springs during the American Revolution. So that was probably one of the first and our last victories, because the American Revolution quickly drew to a close in 1781. 1725, Peter Sellers was born. It's 100th birthday for Peter Sellers, the Pink Panther. Famous, hilarious comedian. Of course, he was also played several roles in the movie Dr. Strangelove. British actor Peter Sellers, who portrayed an astonishing range of characters, but was perhaps best known for his inept Inspector Jacques Clouseau, and the British Pink Panther. The British, I'm sorry, he wasn't British Pink Panther, but he's a British actor. And the Pink Panther, actually, they were British films. They were directed by, what's his name? I'll think of his name in a little bit. The guy that was married to Julie Andrews. See, I remember her name. I don't remember his name. He directed a lot of these. I'll think of it in a little while. 1930, the American company 3M began marketing transparent adhesive tape under the trademark name Scotch Tape. More Scotland involved in this. Scotch Tape, 3M means Minnesotan Manufacturing and Mining. But they invented tape, Scotch tape. You can see through it tape. See through it tape was invented this day, 1930, so it's 95 years old. 1941, German and Finnish armies began the siege of Leningrad. So the Germans, again, the Finnish, we did this last week, are paying reparations to... We had to pay reparations to the Soviet Union, even though the Soviet Union invaded them. Anyway, the German and Finnish armies began a siege of Leningrad, which is now called St. Petersburg, that lasted for 872 days. That's 2.5 years of siege of Leningrad. This means they starved them to death. 1945, at the end of World War II, the first U.S. troops entered the Korean Peninsula south of the 38th parallel to receive the Japanese surrender. North of the parallel, Japanese troops surrendered to Soviet forces. So the Japanese who were occupying Korea gave up two different surrenders. I guess probably not both on this day, but the ones that South Korea surrendered this day, kind of apt with we see South Korea workers, non-union workers being deported. Probably not deported. I'm sure they'll work on some sweetheart deal. 1960, the psychological thriller Psycho, directed by Alfred Hitchcock and based on real-life serial killer Ed Gein, was released in American theaters. It became a classic, especially known for its scene in which Janet Leigh's character is murdered in the shower. Janet Leigh, the mother of Jamie Lee Curtis, and who was in her own series of horror movies. I want to make that link clear. Jamie Lee Curtis was not famous until she was in Halloween. 1966, the first episode of the sci-fi series Star Trek aired on American television. So live long and prosper. It's 59 years ago today. Star Trek made its appearance with Captain Kirk and all the fun gang there. 1974, Richard Nixon resigned as President of the United States. Yes, on August 8th, he was pardoned by Gerald Ford. He resigned as U.S. President on August 8th. He was eventually pardoned by Gerald R. Ford. Of course, Richard Nixon, famous quote was, "I am not a crook. I am just a thoroughly compromised, dishonest person." So there you go. He wanted to straighten us out in that one detail. 1998, Mark McGwire of the St. Louis Cardinals broke Roger Maris's 1961 record for most home runs in a regular professional baseball season by hitting his 67th of the season. He finished with 70. Sammy Sosa also broke the record that year with 66. They were both all roided up, all on steroids, just hitting that ball. Balls that used to be pop-ups before left the stadium. That's what steroids did to you. Wow, I hit that way too far. I barely swung. I am really strong. And the record was later broken by Barry Bonds, who I think he hit like 75, right? Of course, he was roided up too, just because he wanted to join the party. 2003, German filmmaker Leni Riefenstahl, a stylistically influential director, died at the age of 101. Best known for her association with Adolf Hitler and the creation of Nazi propaganda films. Of course, she got to live to be 101. Why? Why wasn't she just taken to the executed for being a propagandist? Oh, she's a dedicated flower. Oh, bullshit. Should have been executed. She got to live to be 101? Get the hell out of here. We didn't do nothing to the Nazis, basically. She lived a long life. I was just a propagandist. I wasn't killing anybody. Come on, man. 2015, American comedian Stephen Colbert debuted as the host of The Late Show, replacing David Letterman. He's got a 10-year run before the fascists in charge of CBS canceled the show. 2022, fascist appeasers basically might as well be fascist. So then no difference. I make no difference between them, as you shouldn't. If you're just giving up your own freedom to screw everybody else, you're just as bad as a fascist. 2022, Queen Elizabeth died after more than 7 decades on the British throne. Elizabeth II died at the age of 96. Her eldest son became King Charles III. And Reggie Jackson was taken in for questioning. That goes back to a movie called The Naked Gun, if you've never seen it. You got to watch The Naked Gun to get that joke. Reggie Jackson, never mind. 2023, a severe earthquake struck near the town of Oka-Medellin in western Morocco. 2,900 people and injuring 5,500 was felt as far away as Portugal and Algeria. So Morocco in Africa had an earthquake felt in Algeria and Portugal. That aren't that terribly far away. Did kill a lot of people. Our featured event is Joan of Arc. We've been to her statue in Paris. She has one right there in that main boulevard. 1429, Joan d'Arc attacks Paris. On this day in 1429, Joan of Arc, a French farmer's daughter who believed she was acting under divine guidance, and the French said, "What the hell, let's do it, let's go," attempted to oust the Duke of Burgundy and take Paris for a newly crowned King Charles VII. So, happy event day to Joan of Arc, who unfortunately was treated like shit after that. King Richard I, King of England, is our feature biography. King Richard I, or Dickie as they call him. I don't know what to call him. It's September 8th, 1857, was born in Oxford, England. And he died on 1199 at the age of 41 in Aquitaine, France. What was he doing in France? I'm guessing he was invading, right? Yeah, that's probably what he was doing. So he died at the age of 41, invading France. Or he was excommunicated, who knows, or whatever. But anyway, he died in France. Born in England, died in France. Our other featured birthdays, Antonin Dvorak, Bohemian composer, born in 1841. Did not compose the Bohemian Rhapsody, though. Peter Sellers' birthday we did. Patsy Cline's birthday. If Patsy Cline was still around, she would be 93 today. She died in a plane crash. Who knows how long she would have lived. She's one of your great country music voices. 1941, Bernie Sanders. Happy birthday to Bernie Sanders, turning 84 today. Happy birthday, Bernie! Get out there and kick some ass. 1954 is the birthday of Ruby Bridges, American civil rights activist. And who's Ruby Bridges? She was allowed to go to school with white kids in Arkansas. Yeah, she's only turning 71 today. So she's only 71, and in her lifetime, our government decided that white kids and black kids can't get along. In there, that's the way it needs to be. We need to have a class society based on skin color. Yeah, some bunch of assholes are still alive. Think that's a thing. So,
and you know what it is?
There's your days.
Europe's fault. French people. There's a lot of famous French eugenicists who started all these ideas. And we took it to America and said that was a good idea.
You can blame whoever you want.
Imported.
You can blame whoever you want, but it's all complete bullshit. I have never made a friend based on their skin color. National Pediatric Hematology Oncology Nurses Day is today. So if you're a nurse who's helping people and going through cancer, it's your day. It's National Boss Employee Exchange Day. Sounds good, but it's only one Monday a year, and it ain't like the boss is going to pay you any extra for being his boss. So I guess on Monday after Labor Day, some businesses have a deal where the boss goes and does the underlings' jobs, kind of like Boxing Day in England. But again, whatever. You know you're not really changing places. So, haha, psych. You're going back to being poor tomorrow. And it's National Star Trek Day. So those are your days. Everything. No food today, unfortunately.
Don't worry, I've got some food in my puns.
Why not? Those are your days, your everything, your mispronunciations, alliteration headlines, no haikus, no limericks today, but plenty of mispronunciations and plenty of bad puns. I think we had some of those. For Monday, September 8th, 2025, on Before Star Trek. There you go. Go watch some Star Trek. Right on.
Okay, I've got your news, your puns based on the news of today. My first one is,
Soundboard.
My friend is really into Joan of Arc memorabilia. I'm beginning to think he might be a heroin addict.
Oh!
My next one. This one's more of a deep cut. Richard I of England, the cowardly Lionheart, escapes Jerusalem in disguise.
No, is that what he did?
As the cowardly lion. Just imagine from the Wizard of Oz. Imagine that. It's more of a visual pun than anything. And then for Star Trek Day, which I can't do the thing because I can't separate my pinky and my ring finger like that. I have to hold it like this. Yeah, you can do it. Long live and pasta! There's your food.
Oh, is that? That sounds like it's from the Flying Spaghetti Monster, right?
Yeah, exactly. Long live and pasta. Live long and pasta.
That's the saying of the Flying Spaghetti Monster religion. Which, of course, if you practice the Flying Spaghetti Monster religion, you're a pastafarian. Just wanted to explain that to everybody.
And make sure you have your daily dose of spaghetti. This has been Allison here from the Netherlands. Oh wait, let me check if there's any UN observances to do that.
Oh yeah, let's do that before the Minky. The Minky.
It is international. Oh shit, we missed some on Sunday as well. Okay, that's a lot of things on Sunday.
Let's do it.
Oh no! On Sunday we missed International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies. That's right. Keep that air clean so you can actually see the sky instead of smog. South Korea is famously, and China, I think, is famously victims of this, probably due to China. So keep those that sky clean so you can see the sky. Then it was also International Day of Police Cooperation. I don't know what that means, but I kind of don't want to celebrate that. But
well, I mean, you got to kind of cooperate. They got a gun on you, right?
Unfortunately. I think this is more for, like, helping police capture actual crimes, like human trafficking and, hacking crime units and stuff like that.
Yeah, and if you see somebody committing a crime and maybe a cop needs help with this idiot who won't shut the fuck up or listen to him,
Yeah,
Help 'em out,
specifically for
maybe.
fraud,
I don't know. Yeah.
human trafficking, child sexual exploitation, abuse, gender-based violence, drug trafficking. You know, the actual things that ruin our society, not, oh, there was a black person in my neighborhood. That's not the cooperation we're talking about. And finally, on 7th of September, it was also Word Duchenne Awareness Day. I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. Duchenne Muscular Dystrophy, or dystrophy, DMD, rare progressive disorder. People with DMD are missing muscle protein, protecting protein. This is due to a fault in their gene-producing dystrophin. Muscles become weaker over time until it affects the whole body. So, a lot of people who can't swim, can't walk, they're just stuck in wheelchairs. Around 5,000 newborn boys in the world are affected by this. What about women? Male only disease, or only men have been studied? Because that is a problem. A lot of diseases are called male only because they don't study women to find out if women are also affected.
Either way, it's a sickness and it's got to be getting over.
Yes. And today is the International Literacy Day. That's why I was talking about learning to read today. As we've hopefully helped you to learn to read. You can also, what we should do is we should put the news stories in the description. And then while we're reading them out loud, you can listen to us read them and then learn to read with us. For International Literacy Day. So it's never too late. You're never too old to learn to read, because reading activates your brains, builds those healthy neuron connections, and lets you think for yourself. This has been Allison from the Netherlands, Roger from the East Coast of the U.S. as we start off another Mucking Fonday. We'll see you tomorrow for Good Tuesday News Day, in which all the good news we can find from this week and last Tuesday. So make sure you're following or subscribed. Turn on the notification on to know when we go live and post a video, and support us on Patreon, because this show is funded by people like you in order for us to keep going. So appreciate all the patrons on Patreon, all the Before Coffee supporters out there. Little as $1 to 10 to 50, whatever you want to donate, we appreciate it. And here is our mic drop moment.
You have a license? Monsieur? City Ordinance 47B prohibits the playing of any musical instrument in a public place for the purpose of
this is the cooperation we don't want.
It is against the law.
No, it is. It's funny cooperation. It's outrageous French accent.
Against the law? Yes, unless you have a proper license. What kind of license? A license.
License already sounds like a French word.
Any musical instrument in a public place for the purpose of commercial enterprise.
The monkey is eating his paper.
Yes. You play that thing and people
Oh no,
give
that's
you
the
the
baton.
People
What is that?
The monkey the money.
It is the same.
Oh. And not
Monkeys
at all,
don't have
monsieur.
rights for employment.
I am a musician and the monkey is a businessman. He doesn't tell me what to play and I don't tell him what to do with his money.
Monsieur, don't try to be funny with me. He is your monkey, therefore
There
it
you
is
go.
your money.
He lives with me, but he is not my monkey. One day I came home and I found him sitting in the living room. I let him
He just invaded his house.
Then the monkey is breaking the law.
Somebody
Arrest
robbing
him
the bank
then.
next door.
Play any musical
You know some people robbing the place next
City
door.
Ordinance
So he's
132R.
In the background? Oh wait,
interrogating
let me see.
Yeah,
I have no.
organ
no.
grinder.
know so much about
Oh yeah, I
city
see it.
ordinances.
What sort of
Totally
stupid
oblivious to the
question is
crime
that?
going
Are you
on.
blind?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I can see them scrabbling.
Yes, of
Okay.
course.
Are you
Well,
blind?
you haven't
Yes,
been
I
talking
am
to a
blind.
police officer. And because I expect to be transferred back to the
He's been looking
division
at him,
any
eye
moment,
contact this whole time until
I
now.
will let you off this time with just a warning.
Thank you, Monsieur Argent.
But you must get yourself a proper license.
First thing
And there
tomorrow.
goes-
Try to do something about your filthy monkey.
Oh, now the alarm goes off. They drop his money.
You dropped that.
And they get the bank
Idiot.
teller for
How
his
was I to know he was the
illegal
bank
arm
manager?
usage.
How are you to know the bank was being robbed?
That is correct.
What is correct?
I did not know the bank was being robbed because I was engaged in my sworn duty as a police officer.
You didn't even arrest the old beggar.
There was some question as to whether the beggar or his monkey was breaking the law.
Minky.
But
You said Minky.
That is correct. Chimpanzee
Minky.
So I let them butt off with a warning.
The beggar was the lookout man for the gang.
That is impossible.
Why?
He was blind. How can a blind man be a lookout?
How can an idiot be a policeman? Answer me that!
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.